It's that time. This is going to be an interesting stream. I want to touch a couple things. First off, the title of this stream is something awful that probably no one's going to click on. But the big thing here is the last time I talked about websites and HUGO, I really I did it dirty. I looked back on that VOD and I was like, this just looks terrible. I think one of the comments on that video was, oh, this is too technical. I'm going back to WordPress. And I was just like, oh, just stab me right in the heart. That means I did a terrible job of explaining how awesome HUGO is. So I wanted to come back today, and I've spent the last couple days. I know I should be doing more important work than this. I don't care. This is exciting to me. I love it. And I love HUGO, and I love the way this website's designed. And I wanted to show you just an amazing, like, ridiculous thing. And I am going to get completely roasted for this stream too, because I don't know Python. So be prepared for some really jank code. Not because of HUGO or anything. I just made a Python script because I wanted to scrape a bunch of APIs and make something on the internet. So I just kind of tossed something together. We'll get to that. Number two thing I wanted to talk about was Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Threads, you know, those like conglomeration of social media stuff. Just a quick tidbit about that because I thought it was kind of interesting that I did. Irongan, thank you for the Prime. 4 months, all right. So, but yes, I wanted to do kind of a jump over and take a look at that because I was like, ooh, there's some meat on the bones, and I actually put together a flow chart of the Twitter/X infrastructure, and from a like more sysadmin point of view. And it has a very this is back when I think Elon took it over. It has a very complex infrastructure, and it looks to be finally on its last leg or close to failing. And a lot of people don't realize how these big infrastructures work and how fragile they can become. And I see Twitter actually getting close to, I think it's looking bad. It's looking really bad. Performance wise, it is probably one of the worst big websites I've ever seen, from just a functionality standpoint. I'm not talking about like content or any of that or who owns it. I don't care about the politics of it, just straight technicals. It's looking very bad from that point of view. So whoever's running Twitter or X from an engineer or that type of standpoint, they are having some massive problems. So let's get over there just to kind of touch on this real fast, and then we'll get to the HUGO API and all that goodness that's going on, because man, jeez, so much fun. This, by the way, is what I was talking about by the stream name. I'm calling an API for that game I'm playing and grabbing all my games and populating them automatically in Markdown, and then changing and seeing when I do wins and losses what the MMR difference is. You could probably do the same thing for like League of Legends and many other games that have online matchmaking. So I really wanted to go kind of this super nerdy. But first, let's hit the Twitter drama. How's it going, Tux, Razzo? I already rewrote the website. Yeah, I just kind of did it offline, and I am going to probably expose an API key on today's stream, but I have it restricted to both my IP and also just the scope of that API key is pretty standard. So if you do see an API key in this live stream, don't worry, we're going to burn it. First off, Twitter, X, dumpster fire as always. You know, it always has been a dumpster fire. It's nothing new. It's been this way for a decade. You know, it's just Twitter. So you usually have a bunch of influencers on here. Actually, I really like Jeff Gearley. He always is just, gosh, you just can't beat Jeff Gearley. Super pure, just awesome. Never like drama farming. But speaking of drama farming, let's talk about Pirate Software, because we got the Asmongold drama, which I'm not going to touch on. I don't drama farm. But this is kind of crazy. Like, why do influencers want to just drama farm? I get it, it's clicks. But really, Like, who cares? Asmongold, love him, hate him, he's a goblin. He hits his Taco Bell, he sits there and does a bunch of React content. Of course he's gonna say something stupid. I don't need to comment on that. So anyways, getting to the actual X whatnot, I have noticed in recent days, whenever I go to load things, the load times have gotten ridiculous. So like you go to click up something, it's just gotten kind of crazy. It's actually fast today. For some odd reason, sometimes pictures load fast, but then when videos go, they're spooling a lot. And I did verify this with like four or five other people. So they're having some very big infrastructure problems depending on the time of day and those types of things. And as far as alternatives go, everyone still uses X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And it's just the de facto short-term thing for communication. Like people will message me, and other creators and stuff still use it for the primary platform. So it's not like it's dead today. I'm just seeing big cracks in the infrastructure or the foundation of Twitter. So we'll see where this goes. As far as alternatives, there's Blue Sky over here, which I think is probably the least used out of the three we'll talk about. Like Twitter's the first. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Twitter. Blue Sky is interesting, very fast, very efficient. I really like the Federation. I think it's better than Mastodon. I kind of hated Mastodon and how it was set up. This you could actually redirect, and they do a lot of the back end. So you can actually say, hey, if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, my handle is christitus.com. And no one else can get christitus.com because I own that domain. And I was like, that's cool. It gives me more ownership. So I do like Blue Sky from a foundational standpoint. And also it does seem to run really fast and I don't have any problems. I guess the main issue here is nobody really uses it. Having said that, it is getting more popular. So as Twitter and X breaks, more people are branching out to other things. And how I view this is I don't actually look at statistics or what people are saying. I just look at who's following me, my notifications. I haven't advertised Blue Sky. I haven't done anything. And I just kind of look back. So let's scroll back and you can see I was averaging like 3 or 4 follows a month. So not very many people. Like I said, nobody's really using it. And then slowly this past month, you'll notice it's starting to pick up quite a bit because of a lot of the cracks and things that have started shown. And I haven't done any posts really over here. I just made one today, just be like, hey, does this thing work? And it does. So this is fine. It's very fast. When I was posting today on Twitter, one last thing about that is I did this. I had to post this meme like 5 times before it allowed me to submit it. And I am not a verified user. I don't pay the $80 a year or something crazy for the checkbox. So I'm like, I'm not paying for social media. That sounds just completely silly. Even though I could make money on it and I probably would get that money back probably. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I was like, that's okay. And then I had to post this one about 10 times before it was actually able to go through. It kept saying I was rate limited. And I hadn't posted anything. This was my first post of the day. So I was like, all right, so that's enough of that. Blue Sky, I might try. I'm going to try and post more over here. I think that would be kind of interesting. So, yeah, christitus.com over here. And then you got Facebook with Threads. And this one, I've always used a tool called Metricool. I don't actually use it or log into it usually. And I don't really scroll it. So what I do is I usually just post things through a third-party app so I don't actually have to use the platform. And that's kind of how I approach a lot of my Threads content. So that's that. Threads, I think it's got more traction than Blue Sky, but obviously still quite a bit less than Twitter. But I still am getting a lot more interactions over here from these. Like this post from... what is that, almost like 2-3 weeks ago from the recall, got about 30 different ones, and that actually had a YouTube link in it. So that's almost equivalent to Twitter X. So Threads does look like it might take over. Sad to say. I really hate that Facebook Meta owns this, and I really don't want it to be the replacement for Twitter, but right now it looks like it is winning the war of everything. So that's kind of where it's at. And my engagements are actually really good on a lot of these posts compared to only having 300 followers, where on Twitter I have like 20,000 something. And then Blue Sky, I don't even know how many followers do I have over here. 162. So Blue Sky, I'm gonna start using more. It's my favorite out of all three. Threads, owned by Meta, hate it, but probably winning the entire battle as Twitter just continually like self implodes. And then Twitter's still the de facto standard, still number one for now. It's just I see that really the crack showing in Twitter from just an infrastructure standpoint, and then also a lot of the weird nonsense happening on the business perspective too. So that's that update for social media. Yeah, and you know, the slowdown, just as a show in chat, I do want to ask chat. Let's see, what do you guys say? Chime in here. Has anybody noticed a slowdown on Twitter, and does anybody use Twitter in chat? That's probably the questions right now. Yeah. Yes. So everyone's seeing the slowdown, seeing the loading errors, because that's what I've been seeing. And I've asked a couple buddies online on like Discord, and they're like, yeah, I'm seeing a huge problem as well. So what are you guys using? We got Mastodon, Locals. I mean, Locals is kind of like its own thing, though. It's like more of a membership service. Mastodon's pretty close. Federation. I just don't like Mastodon and its structure and the Federation and how it's done. I think Blue Sky has it. I like Blue Sky's implementation a little bit better. Apparently, it's slower for non-paid users. Okay, so Twitter, if you pay the money, it's faster. So as long as you're paying the $70 or something, it's actually not a bad experience. Okay. Yeah, I just noticed I don't pay the yearly fee because it's just like, well, it's a dumpster fire and I really shouldn't be over here anyways for just work purposes, not any other reason. I was just like, oh, I probably should, I don't want to pay for that because then I just use it even more. So I wanted to just be the free user experience. Yeah, don't use Twitter, X, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Mag. You're probably the most productive person in chat. Hey, Chris, I saw Prime reacting to the recall video. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Adam, I think we got to transition. We got to do the pivot because we got to address where's Cyberscape from Adam. I had to kick it to the curb. I know I said I would keep it, but I lied. Because I saw a comment, I was like, I gotta show people that HUGO's not just 90s GeoCities themes. I just did that because I liked that theme. And it just tickled that nostalgia itch. Only social media I use is Reddit, if YouTube doesn't count. You know, honestly, Reddit's not that bad as long as you use Google to search it. That's my thoughts. Well, what do we think about the ad block? Has anybody having any problems with Manifest v3 and ad block? Apparently, uBlock should be getting banned any day now. I haven't noticed anything on my end. uBlock still seems to be functioning, but apparently, it's going to be coming through soon. All right, here we go. Adam, just for you, buddy. We're jumping to the desktop. Unrated take uBlock Lite is pretty good. Oh, okay. uBlock Lite. I might have to transition. Yeah, Firefox user here. uBlock still works. God bless you, Firefox users. Yeah, right now I think it's just people using Google Chrome that has the ban on uBlock. Everything else is still working. Brave is still working. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check out Brody's video. We'll have to link that. Can someone link Brody's video in chat? Just so people will have that. is I always like to give Brody a shout out whenever I can. I know he's a yapper, but you know, us yappers gotta stay together. I love Brody. All right. So this right now, Age of Titus, is what I've kind of redesigned the gaming website. Okay, you can extend Manifest V2 until 2025 June. Thank you, Jack, for the link there. Didn't see any ads in Cute Browser. Yeah. I mean, you also have Ladybird. You have some other ones popping up on the scene too. Yeah, I agree, outplayed when the Firefox UI. It's not my cup of tea either, but I never want to discourage anyone from using a Firefox or a Firefox derivative. So I really appreciate the people that do use Firefox, and the bigger their install base, the less of a monopoly Google has, which is always a good thing. Let's see, was it this one? Let's take a look. Old Brody.
I did a video on this a year ago. I did a video on this back in June. This is your final warning.
Yeah, this is it. Oh, that's 2 months ago. Has he done something recently? Let's check his recent videos.
There are countless.
Watching the world burn WordPress. It still blows my mind that so many people use WordPress. Really? Like, WordPress people, why? Do you just not like learning new things? I just genuinely want to know. Why do people still use WordPress? Like, before all the drama and stuff, like, I don't care about the drama. I just always thought it was like hot garbage and no one should use WordPress because it's just like a security nightmare. Nobody really updates anything and it's exploited like crazy. So to me, when like everyone's like freaking out about WordPress, I'm like, yeah, but businesses don't use this, right? It's kind of like, Can I make a Master of Yappers role in Discord for you? Yes, absolutely. 100%. As someone who has been a WordPress developer for over 7 years, we aren't choosing it. The people in the suits choose it. Thank you, Deffy. Okay, so the developers aren't choosing it. That's what I'm thinking. Like from a technical aspect, I look at WordPress and I'm just like, oh, gross. WordPress. Why? What year is it? It's 2024. People are still using this crap. I understand the guy that runs it's a complete insane person, but like besides the point, I mean, it's not very good. Sure. In 2012 or 2020, 2014, I don't know. When did WordPress come out? WordPress released in 2003. Yeah, it's ancient. Like, holy crap. I mean, it was nice back then because back then we were doing websites in like IIS. Don't get me started with IIS. Holy crap. Those, PTSD from the IIS days. Oh, God. Starting to just get breakout in cold sweats just saying IIS. Anyways, WordPress was a godsend for a lot of people. It was like probably one of the very first open source projects that I used back then. Because a lot of times my websites were built in WordPress in the 2000s, even early 2010s. And then the plugins and all that. I get why people used it, but yeah, like e-commerce and businesses using it, it's just wild. It's just a terrible setup for almost anybody. Do not date bash on IIS is the most magnificent piece of shit ever made. Oh man, you guys remember like asp.net and IIS and then like all the jank plugins with that? Man, I might be dating myself here, but that was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, anyways, yeah. Oh, thank you, Caleb. I'll check it here in a bit. I don't actually have. Oh no, I have Discord up, but I don't know what that's on. I don't know what the last messages were. I have used WordPress and it's still also slow to load. Yeah, I think almost every WordPress site can be identified by just a terrible one. Thoughts on Wix and Squarespace? You know, I think Wix and Squarespace have taken over where WordPress has like just failed over the past couple years. Wix and Squarespace are great for noobs that don't know how to design anything and they just want to pay some money and have a website. That's great for Wix and Squarespace. No professional is going to really use Wix and Squarespace probably, but I mean, it's there. So, I mean, it's great for those, like, I think for WordPress users, obviously that's a better solution, but yeah, I still wouldn't use them. They're just expensive and it's just, it feels like a tax on a knowledge tax, really. That's what Wix and Squarespace are. You get a good experience, but you pay through the nose for that experience. So for me, I really shoot. You could use Drupal, you could do HUGO, you could do, oh geez, Ghost. You could use. There's so many different alternatives that are just so much better than pretty much all of that. So I mean, just learn that. Is this you? Social Libram 1 at Chris Titus. Yes, that is me. Ang. Oh my God, I haven't checked that in like 5 years. I remember I actually got sponsored by, was it Purism? Purism is the one that owns Libram 1. They sponsored like 2 videos back in the 2019. Made about $500 on those sponsorships. Those were back in the glory days of just getting started. So yeah, they actually sponsored a couple of videos, and one of them was like sponsored, like, hey, show off the Libram 1 suite. So I signed up for it and jumped on Mastodon with it. It was like, interesting. Don't really like it, but it's okay. But yes, I haven't checked it since that 2019 or something. Maybe 2020. I might have logged into it once. In my opinion, Wix is even shittier than WordPress. Yeah, I don't know. From a security standpoint, that's my main issue. By the way, I moved my personal website just to HTML, CSS to HUGO. Nice, Adam. Yeah, I love HUGO. Like, if you code at all, I think there's no better platform than HUGO because everything is modular. So I started this stream out saying I really felt like I did HUGO dirty because I really didn't show like any kind of like custom CSS and a lot of this stuff. You can make this an amazing experience. Like, I went ahead and set this up like this and just kind of, you have a light mode, a dark mode. Oh, the light mode actually looks pretty good. So this is the light mode. Dark mode's just got a little more tint for you vampires. And then just added like a full screen one. So the cool thing is it has a responsive theme. So if you're on mobile, here, if it's on mobile, you can see it'll adjust everything. And let's bring that over. And I believe you get this and you got a table of contents and everything. It just works really, really well from a responsive theme. If you have something that's built in HUGO, it's just amazing. Gub and Whiskey, thank you for the tier 1 from Whiskey. Thank you, sir. 3 months. Hell yeah. And Gub, thank you for the prime. But yes, this is like so cool. So I wanted to actually build something, make it look decent, because the last video when I started to show like the beginnings of it, where it's like, oh, let's just grab some random old like GeoCities knockoff theme, Cyberscape. And I was like, meh, not really my jam. So then I grabbed a diary theme or journal theme. I can't remember the name of the theme. And I think it was diary actually. And then I just heavily modified it. So what I ended up doing was bring it in here, and I added Python scripts. I added a GitHub action. So what I want to do is scrape my games. So let me come on over here. Actually, do we have, yeah, right here. Let's pull games.markdown, right? So I have all these games where I won. This is just Age of Empires is what I was playing. And what I wanted to do is just scrape all of it, right? So what I can do is, I'm just going to delete it all just to show how this populates. So this is just a markdown table. Now you might be thinking, Titus, I don't want to do markdown table, whatever. I get you. But The thing is, you could set up certain things to go ahead and scrape internet and grab certain data from any point and then just drop it in here in Markdown, and it's crazy simple. So what you do is, I think I just ran this, update games, bam, come back here. It auto-populates everything using all this. Now, I want to take it a step further, probably here in a little bit, and just go, oh gosh, it's really cool. So my idea is to query my live streams and then have like a Python script scrape through the live stream and grab out the chapters of each live stream and then add a hyperlink, so then you could click in here and watch that game, whether it was win or loss and the discrepancy. You could do this with almost any game, I think. And anyways, I get really excited about it because I'm like, this is so cool. But basically, I wanted something to where I could look back on how I was doing and then also see what was my best wins and what my worst losses were. So if someone's MMR was really low, their matchmaking rating, it was really low and I lost, that means I was just, I guess, stupid that day, or maybe just having an off day. Or if I was losing a bunch, but I hit a couple really good people with a really high MMR and I was able to beat them, that was like a best win. And I kind of wanted to showcase that too, and know, hey, when I'm playing good and when I'm playing bad, I know a little bit better than what you see from just watching a wins loss listing. So all that's done is with this Python script, and that fills in a Markdown, and then that auto builds as soon as this is committed to GitHub. And since this is a Python script, I bake this into a GitHub action so that it builds the Markdown file for me. I mean, so you don't have any database, you don't have any like stupid LAMP stack, everything's static, but static. So the end user, there's zero attack surface. So when it comes to WordPress and all these other like Wix, Squarespace, there's all these attack vectors because you have logins, you have all this stuff that's exposed to the entire internet. This isn't. It's all just right there. And it's only distributed through one spot, and it's all static pages. So there's no, hey, a bot got to my, crawled my website, found an admin login, and through PHP started, you know, doing a database attack or something like that. Or probably in a database injection attack or something like that. There's so many problems with a lot of those databases that are in there. You don't need to keep it in a database, especially when it's exposed to the internet and it's a website. Just my opinion. And also like shortcodes and stuff too. Like that's something I didn't show in the other video that kind of was like, oh man, that's so cool. And I think I had, oh no, I didn't. But we could make a short code. But you can actually go into layouts and add a short code. And then let's say there's like a specific type of HTML you want to do. Like let's say you want to format your code like this super special different way. And before you would do it, well, probably like Next.js is another really good one some people will do to make some really cool looking websites. But I'm not that skilled. So I'm like old school 90s. Give me like Notepad and HTML, and I'm sitting there like hard coding the style instead of using like a CSS style sheet. You know, just old man things. But I really like HUGO because I can just design all that around like a short code. And then I think in the essential tips, this is a short code. So instead of adding like this huge hyperlink to YouTube, all I do is grab the YouTube ID, and this is actually baked in. The short code's baked into HUGO. And here, can we? Yeah, look at this. So this short code is baked into HUGO. You have the two squirrely brackets and then the alligator here, and just adding YouTube space the YouTube ID. Now, sometimes if it has like an underscore or a special character, you might need to add two quotes like this, and that will encapsulate it a little bit better. So sometimes there's some formatting things you got to watch out for in HUGO because this is all Markdown, but these short codes make it so you can just jam out content super fast, and it's so much better. You're not logging into anything. And then once you're done with this update, let's say you're finished, you know, if you know GitHub, you can just go lazy G, update, tips, boom, and you're done. Now, I think I still have some of the cached Cyberscape in there. Anyways, I'm sure it's fine. Let's see. Did I leave that in there? Ah, it is. There's still some of that. Other things. So this is a GitHub repository after all, too. One thing I forget to mention, too. How can I make a sitemap XML in just one file? It makes different ones for different languages. Let's see. What did I do for Chris Titus? ChrisTitus.com. Let's go sitemap.xml. Okay, that's there. So, yeah, that's everything. Might have been the theme. Let's go over to my website. Oh, I can answer that question for you, Adam. Was it config.toml? Okay, so for this... Oh my god, I forgot to tell you guys I found the scariest crap ever. Speaking of scary Microsoft things, when I was doing this, I pulled in... Okay, let's see yours. I pulled in something. Okay. Yeah, that's awful. So it's not generating a sitemap. Have you checked the HUGO documentation? Sitemap templates, overview. Okay, so make sure you have 0.9. It's actually embedded now. I use 0.1.136 extended for HUGO for my versioning. Now, for the configuration, you can just go in your YAML, your hugo.yaml file, or TOML if you're ascended and a better person. Or if you're just a crazy person, you can do JSON. Anyway, so for us normal people, we use hugo.toml. Am I using YAML over here? Before I talk, yeah, okay, I'm using TOML. I was like, ugh, YAML. Little things. TOML is really cool because you can just do sitemap in there, change frequency. Usually I do like 1 day is fine. And then disable false, file name sitemap, priority -1. I think if you just put this in here, you should be fine. Oh, actually for the change frequency, probably daily is what you put. Disable would be false. File name, sitemap XML is what you want to do it to. And then priority, default -1 is fine. And then once you do that, it should generate your sitemap. Now, did I do it in mine? Sitemap? Sitemap I didn't. So I think when I created ChrisTitus.com, they hadn't baked in sitemap yet. Because I think I started HUGO around version 0.06 or something. So pretty early on. Okay, there's your config toml. Oh, let's take a peek. So sitemap, change frequency, priority 0.5. And it was not working for you? I guess go ahead and build this. What version is your HUGO? That's another thing. What's the scariest thing you found related to Microsoft's part of Bing Copilot? Well, I think Copilot's ingesting a lot of user data. Probably the scariest thing was I was working with an API tool the other day, actually. Actually, I think it was VS Code. So I was in here, and I want to say it was this one. So I have my API key listed here, but when I'm going to burn this API key, so don't freak out. It's already restricted, and also I put an IP blocker on it, so no worries. But I was sitting in here, and what I noticed when I like zeroed this out, and I like started doing this, it started like auto completing someone else's site key with Copilot. So I was like, what the hell? Whose API key is that? And did they, I mean, why is that in there? Obviously it's grabbing user generated content, and I think it's grabbing people's API keys. That would be kind of freaky. So if you really want to get freaked out, imagine people that don't do a restricted API key, which most new developers don't, or do a limited scope on their API key. It's completely unrestricted as well on the scope. And now all of a sudden they're using Copilot and Sonnet or Jippity or whatever the, LLM you want to use. No judgment here. it's taking your API key and then using it in its data, and it's stored somewhere in that giant language model, and it might even recommend your API key to other users. I mean, that would be kind of wild. So I did have a lot of API keys started to fill for me, and I'm thinking to myself, dang, that's scary. That's really scary. So that's definitely something you need to watch out for. So I don't know, but that's a Copilot type thing. I'm using Copilot for a lot of that generation. So yes, Microsoft Copilot. The other scary Microsoft thing as well, if you're not scared enough from recall or Copilot grabbing user-generated content and then start recommending like API keys to people, this also is kind of wild. It's called, before we get there, I got to do a poll. I got to do a poll in chat because this freaked me out. And it was actually dealing with HUGO as well. Oh, what should we straw poll it? We'll straw poll it since we got YouTube as well. Because I got something, what is a straw poll? Strawpoll.com, yeah. Create a poll. Question. Have you ever heard have you ever heard of Microsoft Clarity? Oh yeah, we're about to freak some people out. Create a poll. All right, we'll share this with y'all. Copy it. Let me drop it in here. So I'm gonna say yes. And actually, let's just go show results. Oh, we're about to freak some people out. Oh yeah. Oh, you. This is something y'all need to check on the views sourced on the new websites you go to. You ever scared of Google Analytics? This is just in time for Halloween. This makes recall look like child's play. Ah. Let's go. All right, I'm pulling up Clarity now. Y'all, we got 60 votes or so in. Most people have not heard of Microsoft Clarity. I'm going to actually go green screen here as I log into this, just to make sure it's not exposing anything. I'm hoping it doesn't show like a... Okay. I don't think I see any IPs in here. I just didn't want to dox somebody. I don't care. I'll dox myself all day long, but I don't want to dox anybody that visits me or something. Does it show the session? I'm just checking, double checking. Okay. Yep, this is it. And I do not see IP listed anywhere. All right, we're good. Here we go. I don't want to do dark mode for this. Sorry, I'm blinding you guys. Okay. This is Clarity. Now, it is the big brother of Google Analytics. You want to freak somebody out? It records everything that is going on the website. So any kind of edit in the website, it would record your movements as you are going through the website. It shows where they're clicking on the screen, moving through the website, maybe even pulling up the menu here. Oh gosh. It shows it all. That's where analytics is going now. And guess what? Nobody even knew it. I didn't even know it because I enabled it on a website. I'm like, oh, Clarity, it's an analytics. Let me try it out. I've never heard of that before. And then I went through, and you can go through, it records not only the screen, but just so much information. I was just like, oh my gosh, that is the scariest crap in the world. So obviously, as soon as I found that, I stripped it out on my website. But that's just crazy, right? Just imagine that on a big website. Yeah, I mean, that is not only just a massive amount of bloat, but just a super invasion of privacy where it shows where they're even clicking and gives you a video of what that looks like. I mean, just imagine if they're typing things, it's going to capture all the stuff they're typing. I was just sitting here going through like all the ramifications from this, like just crazy egregious analytics, and I was blown away by it. So whenever you're checking sources, you should, I mean, Google Analytics isn't near as bad as what Clarity showed me here. I saw that and I was just kind of blown away. So now that I've thoroughly scared the crap out of everybody in Microsoft, I just want to let you know, do what you will with this information. Go check it. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just go, I hate you, Microsoft. I'm going to type a Twitter rant. I mean, go use it. Go grab the product. Go test this stuff. And then come to your own conclusion on it. All I want to do is just say, this exists. Y'all probably should know this is a thing. And scary. So that's it. You know, maybe when October ends, we can get back to the normal thing, and just scaring the crap out of every user. I mean, maybe it's Microsoft just punking us. Maybe Microsoft's just trolling and saying, hey, how bad can we scare users? Just in time for Halloween. Let's scare the living crap out of them. Let's drop recall into features on every single 24H2. What else can we do? Let's launch a analytics product that just completely does full-blown screen recording. That would be awesome. What else can we do? You know what? Let's just capture everything from Copilot and not tell people we're just grabbing all their data as well that uses Copilot, and then maybe even recommending private keys to people. That would be fun too. What else can we do? I don't know. Halloween's still a couple weeks away. Bob, get on it. We need to scare them more. I look forward to next week. Anyways, it's fun. It's fun. All right, see the sitemap again. It generates 2 sitemaps. This version is using 1.36 extended. That's the one I like. My sitemap is linking to English sitemap.xml and Polish sitemap.xl. I have website on 2 languages. Cool. I like that. So you got that. So let's go to the English sitemap XML. Can we pull that up? Oops, my bad. Where's my prettier? Oh, maybe not. All right, here, let me get the dark mode going. Oh, no, I have dark mode. Huh. Okay. It looks like it's there. It's indexing one post. It's indexing your tags. When you're making these websites and your posts, you got posts highlight OS is back. I would probably change the slugs for the page so you get better SEO. So like one thing I'd probably recommend here, man. I do it on like all my pages. Enhanced Linux and Windows. Let's pull that up. I usually, when I'm making the post, do a URL slug. This should be by default. So in your header file, the markdown for the post, do Enhanced Linux or whatever your slug is. This makes it much easier for engines to crawl and see it. And also it's a good user experience. So if a user finds something on christitus.com and goes, I like that post, I need to refer back to it, they can just remember christitus.com / and then that's really easy slug to go ahead and do. But it does look like your sitemap's working. You just want one sitemap. I'm sure it can be done. I just have never done multi-language because I'm just a smooth brain that knows one language, and then a bunch of cuss words and a bunch of other languages. I can probably say cuss words in, well, obviously Spanish, German, and I'm trying to think of any. Yeah, maybe just Spanish and German. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, anyhow. All right. Now, getting back to the whole purpose of this stream, I wanted to do this. Now that we've talked about API keys, we've got through all the news of the day. The thing I really wanted was, oh, geez, let's go here. I really wanted to expand this. So the idea was I wanted to link this up using a Python script into my, what YouTube account am I on here? Yeah, I'm on the right. I want to say I have a playlist. So I only want to pull in this one playlist. So I want to do an API scrape of this playlist, grab all of these in, and then I want to grab the timestamps and the chapters right here, and then link that with the markdown over here. I recommend Zine. It's an alternative to HUGO that us written in Zig is good static site generator. Oh, okay. Well, if you want to try that out, you can. I just am real familiar with HUGO, so I'm gonna die on that hill that I just love me some HUGO. But I mean, that's good. I always like to have more options. So if any Zig people out there and really want to go crazy, check out Zine. I always appreciate new options. It's kind of wild. It always blows my mind that people around the world see these videos. I think it's so cool. All right. So the big thing here is calling and figuring out what data points to find for it. And then the API access that we're going to get, I use something called, actually, we're just going to do a HTTP scrape of this page. So if you look at this page, this is everything in here, and we can look at the source code from it. So a lot of games have specific source code. Let's do a line wrap here. And specific source code. And what you can do is go, you know what? I need to pull maybe timestamps from a specific part in the page. And I know if we look at this, when you hover over these, you get timestamps to the Twitch video, which will disappear in 14 days because Twitch doesn't hang on to video. And what I wanted to do is maybe scrape the URL from here, grab that timestamp, and then reference the YouTube content over here and be able to be like, okay, so it was around this day, we need to scrape that, grab the chapters, and then somehow match this metadata up with this metadata, and then match it to this link to possibly link it up. Or we could do a win-loss condition and go, this was a loss. We were Japan versus Byzantine, and it was versus Titus Maximus, me, and AT Martin. So then we match the result condition, the civilization condition, and then the usernames. So with all three matches, if we want to go 3 matches, maybe 2 matches might be sufficient. We could match that up with that result and then snag this. The big thing is trying to get clean results from this. Parsing this is a little bit crazy. So we'll probably lean heavily in the LLM side of things. You like my gamer name? Titus Maximus. Titus Maximus Decimus Meridius, or whatever the hell that is. I shall have my vengeance in this life or the next. Oh, you gotta love Gladiator, man. Gotta love it. Are you not entertained? Oh, I love it. So good. So, that's the idea. So how do we match that up? So we already are pulling stuff. This actually does have an API that we were scraping using a different one. Did I close cursor? I did. close cursor, didn't I? So we have, I'll go back here. We got our exposed API key there. Control Shift. Huh. That's a little bit too zoomed in for me. What? I thought it was Control Shift minus sign, right? Control plus minus. Okay. Control minus. Oh, is it just Control minus? Oh, yeah. Okay. I was adding too many hotkeys. So we have the update games that happens. This is the Python script, and you can always tell things that are written in an LLM because it makes these weird comments. Add worse losses section if it doesn't exist. Skip the game if MMR can't be converted to int. Like, no human would write this. That's just telltale signs of an LLM. So if you ever want to know, hey, what exactly is written in an LLM, what's not? Look for stupid comments, and you usually can tell. So obviously, I don't write in Python. I might be able to read Python a little bit, but yeah, I'm not fluent in it or anything. You ain't exposing no keys, already exposed in your GitHub repo. Yeah. That's like, I need to burn that key anyways. And it's already restricted down to like several different ways. So you're not gonna, it's not like an unrestricted key. So even if someone was able to take the key and run it, which it shouldn't run regardless because of region restrictions and IP restrictions and domain restrictions. And then also the scope of the key is very, very limited. So it's fine. It's in the repo. I'll purge it afterwards anyways, and we'll do a new key. I just want to show people, hey, this is kind of an API, because when you deal with YouTube, you pretty much have to use an API key to call it. Otherwise, everything I think is rendered with JavaScript on the back end. So if you ever do deal with YouTube and you're scraping, you got to realize that a lot of that is just kind of jank. And or maybe they do it on purpose in JavaScript. I don't know. It seems inefficient to me or slow, but it does work. And yeah, you should use an API key. Oh, yeah. Yeah, nice comments. Yeah, set API key. What was that back here? Let's pull this Python. Like, you can tell that's an LLM. No one puts set your API key here and then put the API key. That's just ridiculous. Do you think PHP would be better? Potato. I think a lot of people obsess over, like, whether it's LLMs, whether it's your coding itself, or whatever language it is you're using. Frankly, none of it matters to me. I just want to get the job done. And at the end of the day, just get your work done. If you can get it done using an inefficient language like Java, you know, look at Minecraft, for examples. Minecraft's like the most successful video game ever made, but it is written in Java, which is just asinine. Like, that's terrible. I think I saw a tweet by Theo the other day where he said it was rewritten in Rust, and it's like 80% more efficient from CPU cycles, and then like 10x on memory usage, like way more memory efficient than rewritten in that. And all they did was rewrite Minecraft in Rust compared to Java. So while, yeah, it does matter, and yes, there's performance benefits from using the proper language for the proper thing, at the end of the day, if you can't get it done in the proper way, and you can just kind of hack around and get something out the improper way, get it done. Get it done. That's the big thing. Yeah, Rust async is just super fast. Yeah, and that's just it. So, I mean, hopefully they rewrite Minecraft in Rust. I think that would be awesome if Microsoft did that. Will they? Probably not, because what's the point? People are fine with it being inefficient and it just being awful in Java, and they make tons of money off of it. So why would they donate, you know, millions of dollars probably rewriting in Rust when Java's good enough. Yeah, but it's microslop. But I mean, that's the thing. They have the ability to do it, and it wouldn't even really probably take them that long to rewrite it all. It's just they haven't yet. They've already rewrote it once. Why'd they choose Java again? That's kind of crazy. Or was it, oh no, Visual Basic. That's right, because of Bedrock. I forgot about Bedrock. That's funny. Under the name Bedrock, yeah. Yeah, when it comes to Bedrock, I mean, it probably is more efficient. I don't know. I hate Bedrock. I honestly prefer Java better than Bedrock. So, yeah. They rewrote Bedrock's written in BASIC? No. Surely not. Surely not. C++. Yeah. You said Visual Basic. I was like, no. C++, that makes kind of sense. Okay. Don't call me Shirley. I love the airplane reference. Bedrock is so bad. Agreed. It's just microtransactions everywhere. Agreed. Yeah, like, that's why I probably hate Bedrock. And frankly, it's not even that much of a better game. Like, it feels like more of a stripped down version of Java. And you don't even really see much performance benefit. You should see a massive performance benefit compared to using C++ compared to Java. Yet, here we are. So, obviously, whoever wrote it in C++, probably not the best developer in the world. But then again, I don't know what kind of obstacles they're trying to overcome coming from Java to C++. Because it's pretty bugged in C++. Maybe if they wrote it in Rust. Again, this relies on Microsoft not being, you know, maybe they had an intern write it. I don't know. Oh man. Yeah, the Android version, probably the best version. I don't know. For performances, I'm saying. Java will always be the Minecraft in my mind. Yeah, I definitely feel like Bedrock and Microsoft was like, meh, good enough. We'll be able to ship that to a bunch of kids and then, you know, fleece them down in their parents' credit card for millions and millions of dollars. And at the end of the day, whoever made that decision was right. The gamers did just say, here's my credit card or my parents' credit card. And Bedrock was used. So, as much as I hate all this, guys, we should acknowledge the elephant in the room. Gaming with microtransaction is just the de facto standard for AAA titles now. There is no good gaming company out there that makes a good game that doesn't fleece you down and you know, stick it to you. I mean, maybe there's a couple out there that exist. I don't know. I don't know one. Yeah, Valve. Yeah, well, even Valve's not squeaky clean on that. I mean, look at the CSGO skins and crap like that. That's pretty shady. And then you have the weird like Valve Market and other everybody's not. Nobody has their hands clean in the AAA gaming sector, in my opinion. Oh, FromSoft. Trying to think. Yeah, no, FromSoft I think is actually probably the best AAA title out there. You got Elden Ring, you have all the Dark Souls series, you have Bloodborne, Sekiro. Yeah, none of those had egregious DLC, and they didn't screw anybody. So, yeah, Baldur's Gate. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 was kind of amazing. Although their early access was kind of jank. I didn't like necessarily how they developed it, but you can't deny the end result. The end result was amazing. It's all the games that make you want to slit your wrist. Oh no. GOG thoughts. I am getting more and more of, oh god, what is it? I love the idea of GOG more than Steam. Because here's the thing that I think is missing on Steam. Like, if we look, where's here, let's just go here. Steam. As someone with, I don't know, how many games do I have here? So I have like 200 or 300 games. Let's see. Yeah, about 286 games on Steam. So I obviously am a Steam user. And I think one day Gabe Newell is going to die of a heart attack. And when that happens, what happens to Steam, the company? Probably get eaten up by Microsoft or some other really nasty like EA or Activision or somebody, some big gaming conglomerate is going to just drool at taking this over. And when that happens, what happens to our game library? Because we don't actually own these games, we rent them. And that's the big difference between GOG and Steam. With GOG, you actually buy the game, it's DRM free, and then you have it and own it, and then you can do whatever you want with it. And that's the problem is you have limited selection because some publishers say, no, I don't want to sell my game. I want to rent it out to people. And that's the main problem. So that's the big thing about it. I guess you could pirate it and everything. Why a heart attack? Have you not seen Gabe Newell? Did he lose weight? Gabe Newell. I mean, he has lost weight. He's still very big, and he's 61 years old. So I do worry about him having a heart attack and dying. I say that because I come from a bigger family. A lot of my grandfather died at 54. My dad died at 54. You know, it's a thing. If you don't watch what you eat, you get bigger. You're a big bone guy, say this least. You're going to probably die in your 50s and 60s. That's just kind of how life works usually. Unless you have like just genetically blessed or something, and then maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, if you're overweight and you get up there, you're going to die. I mean, that sucks, you know? I mean, but shoot, that's why I work out. That's why I try and not eat like a complete degenerate. I fail at that sometimes, but I constantly try at it because I'm thinking to myself, like, God bless, I don't want to die like my dad and my grandpa did. I don't want to be going out in my 50s. And that's what drives me. That's my motivation for, hopefully being semi-healthy. Why didn't you buy Cyberpunk on 2077 GOG if you like it more? I guess maybe I think at the time I bought it on release, and I don't know if it was on GOG or not on release. If it was, it would have been good, and I should have done that. I'm going to try and do that for any game I buy going forward, though. No more like Steam summer sales and stuff for me. It's just like, this isn't going to be around forever, you know? The Steam library will eventually one day die, and all these rented games that I bought will disappear. And yeah, I understand that. I really so I try and limit what I do here, and I'm trying to build out like my GOG library more. And I think I only have like 50 games on GOG. So yeah. If Steam died, Proton is dead, and no Linux gaming. It depends. It depends on that. And I don't know. I haven't even tried GOG. Well, GOG has a built-in launcher on Lutris, does it not? If you're on Linux. Let's see. GOG. Oh, there's GOG. One second. Let's try GOG on Linux real fast. And maybe I'm going to try and log in with Lutris with my username and password if I can remember it. It's a big if. Did it like that? Maybe? Okay, reload. And I think we're good. Okay. So we're logged in with GOG. Let's see. Can we do anything with it? Yeah, GOG is completely DRM free, so you do actually own the games, which is nice. Yeah. Okay, so you do own it on their launcher. Well, I'll have to check it out. Like I said, I bought Cyberpunk, I think, on release, and I haven't really started using GOG a lot until probably like this year. I think I've gotten probably 10 games or so. Like, I think some of like their older games that I really wanted an offline installer for. Like, Morrowind, I really wanted, and I'm trying to think, there's a few others I think I had. I think some of the Alice series. I still didn't get that. One second. Let me log in again over here. I'll log in through the website maybe. Nah. Orders? Oh, I don't have that many games. I only have 20 games on GOG. One second. Come. Yeah. Here we go. All right. So I have like old school Diablo, Undying, like an amazing game. Morrowind. I think I got these for free. We have Oblivion. And I think Fallout 3 I loved. Shadows of Mordor. And I think some of these are free games. Like the Tomb Raider stuff I think was free through like Twitch or something. And then Lego. So obviously not much of a library. I do have some Cyberpunk stuff, but I didn't buy it here. I think I bought that on Steam. Yeah, the Shadows of Mordor was amazing. Shadows of War was decent too. So let's try to install like this game, I guess, just to see it. Now I would probably just go over to Lutris. Let's do Morrowind. Well, Morrowind, you'd want to do like open MW probably. Is that Game of the Year edition? Yeah, that was Game of the Year edition. So you have, yeah, OpenMW engine with GOG game data. Let's try that. Because OpenMW redoes the engine for Morrowind and makes it like way more efficient and just considerably better too. Cool. Excellent, Chef. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, the cool thing about this is with GOG, everything is you just basically just downloading it directly to your machine. You're not renting it. There's no DRM. You can take it and put it on other machines. There's no anything crazy. Okay, so I should technically own Cyberpunk on GOG. Good to know. So yeah, but Good Old Games is where you should buy your games. If it's on GOG, that's where you want to go. Because you will own your game and you can go anywhere from there. Dennis, thanks for the tier 1. How's it going, man? Yeah. Ordinary Gamers. I think he was playing Bloodborne through an emulator, wasn't he? Heroic uses the Epic Game Store launcher, which no one buys games on the Epic Game Store, do they? That just seems like a terrible idea. Oh, Heroic does have GOG as well. Okay. Well, I've always used Lutris. Let's see how Lutris does. Oh, some people burn their GOG games to discs and make cool custom colors. I like that. Throwback to the like 2000s and 90s, man. That's awesome. Heroic uses GOG, Epic, and Amazon Games. What the hell's Amazon Games? Is that a launcher? I feel like an old man right now. There's a new game launcher that I don't know about. Oh, Amazon Prime Games. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm dating myself a little bit there. When did that come out? I know Luna, that was like their competitor to like GeForce Now. Remember like the cloud gaming craze? And then everyone's like, wait a second, cloud gaming really sucks. There's a bunch of latency. How the hell does anybody cloud game? Yeah, it works technically, but it feels bad, man. Install completed. All right, cool. Well, let's launch it. Does it work? Could not find data files. Okay. Welcome to Open Wizard. Next. We're going to just approach this like a noob. Okay. Well, let's read. I guess we'll read. Put that to 3, maybe? Can we stack this? Okay. So, upon first run, the Morrowind INI needs to be converted to OpenMW through the automated installer. The modules, the main game, will be placed in the proper order within the launcher. Okay. Did that make sense to anybody? Because... Oh, no. Cancel. So just view the install script. Upon first run, the Morrowind INI needs to be there. The Steam installation has them out of order by default. Please select GOG. Alright, I guess we'll just point to Morrowind data app morrowind.ini. Okay. Existing. Next. Browse. Game of the year. Data? Sounds good to me. Open. Next. 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 Finish. Did that work? Everything disappeared on my screen, so I'm thinking, yeah. You gonna work? I don't think it's gonna work. Okay. Well, that was neat. Don't know what happened. Download the installer from GOG? Possibly. So, I think we'll just launch it. Let's see. So we have it right here. We hit play. Nice. We got our data files. Data directories. I'm sure there's like, God, the modding community on OpenMW is like silly. All right, cool. You can do special binds and stuff. Cool. All right, well, let's just hit play and see what happens. Nice. Seems to be working. So this came right from GOG.com on the install. So we can go new.
Stand up. There you go.
Looks pretty good with no mods or anything. You can kind of...
What's your name?
Titus Maximus.
Well, not even last night's storm could wake you. I heard them say we...
Oh, this is GOG.
I'm sure they'll let us go.
Oh, you don't think this looks good?
Here comes the guard.
This is peak gaming right here.
Come with me.
Okay. Oh, look at these graphics. Dude, look at this. Ah, that's so awesome. Y'all don't know what you're missing. This was as good as it got. Gaming's only gone downhill from here. I mean, this looks great. You got to remember, this is a 20...
Yourself up on deck and let's keep
Was it a 21-year-old game? No, a 22-year-old game. It was 2002. Hatch? Okay. Oh, I think it's space for that. Building navigation mesh.
This is where they want you.
I mean, look. No mods. Nothing. 22-year-old game. All we did was load Morrowind.esm in OpenMW. That's it.
Let's go. Move it along.
22-year-old game. This is just peak. This is peak gaming right here. Is this guy moving? It is moving. Ever so slightly. Sit here all day long, staring at the sky. I don't see any VSync problems. You guys see tearing or anything? I mean, obviously, maybe get a character model mod. I feel like that's needed. Okay.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in.
Not bad for a 22-year-old.
They'll finish your release.
Heck, this right here, this game would be graduating college right now. That's how old it is. How's your Rust journey going? Terrible. I need to get back to it.
Head on in.
Okay.
Ah, yes. We've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
Can you guys even hear this game?
On a clear day, you chance upon a strange animal. Its leg trapped
Oh,
in
okay,
a hunter's
good.
claw snare. Judging from the bleeding, it will not survive long.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Oh, use herbs, put your pack to sleep. Draw your dagger, and mercifully ending its life in a single thrust. Do not interfere in the natural evolution of events, but rather take the opportunity to learn more about the strange animal you've never seen before. Nah, let's just kill
One
it.
summer afternoon, your father gives you a choice of chores. What would you rather do?
Go catch fish at the stream? Work in the forge while I cast... Who the hell... Everyone's gonna pick fishing
Your
here.
cousin has given you a very embarrassing nickname, and even worse, likes to call you it in front of your friends. You
Really?
ask him to stop, but he finds it very amusing to watch you blush. What
Beat
do
up
you
your cousin? Making a more embarrassing nickname for him? Make up a story that makes your nickname a badge of honor instead of something humiliating. I think make up a story that makes your... Go the My Hero Academia route. Here you go. Make up a story that makes your nickname a badge of honor.
There's a
Dig
lot
it.
of heated discussion at the local tavern over a group of people called
Hey, Chris, your video is being watched by the Prime agent. Sweet! I love Prime. Prime's awesome.
kings. Rumor has it these telepaths read a person's mind and tell their lord whether
I don't think those are
followers tell
glasses.
the truth or not. You believe.
All right, rumor has it. Telegrams. All right, Can read a person's mind and tell their lord what the person's thinking. Oh. Loyal followers of the king have nothing to fear from its telepath. This is like Microsoft users right here. In the times, it is necessary evil, though. Okay. Although you do not necessarily like the idea, a telepath could have a certain advantages during a time of war and finding someone's innocent of a crime. Okay, Patriot Act, anyone? All right, this is a terrible practice. A person's thoughts are his own, and no one, not even a king, has the right to make such an invasion of another person's human mind. Yeah, I'm a Linux user, man. Come on now. No Linux user is going to pick anything but
Your
option
mother
3.
sends you to the market with a list of goods to buy. After you finish,
Software development gaming now. Yeah, we're testing the capabilities of the OpenMW engine. This is peak software in development. Although, how many questions does this person ask? Anyhow, all right, that's enough of that. Very cool. It does work. Works quite well. Looks good. For Windows users that watch this on the VOD, yes, I just quit out of that game with a hotkey. Power of Linux. We're not like you peasants on Windows that have to use the escape menu. Although, in a side note, I was playing Age of Empires the other night, and I accidentally did hit that hotkey and quit out during a ranked match and ended up losing that game. So, there are drawbacks to having an immediate one. Linux just doesn't prevent you from doing anything, for better or worse. Alt F4 is like the worst hotkey ever made. Supermod Q is really where all the ascended people go to. I mean, honestly though, when it comes down to it, let's just launch Win 11, right? Super F4. Well, I like to do, I think I have this in the Windows instance. I rebind some of Windows to use Super Q. That's what I like. Finally, a question. How are the women there? Will there be find a match easily, hard to get, difficult to foreigners? Oh, that's Adam. Okay, I was like, oh, that's a weird question. I was like, probably shouldn't ask the guy that's been married for 20 years. I'm not like Dr. Disrespect up in here, you know? Oh, man, you know? Yeah, it's just great. Yeah, but Merwin, definitely check that out. So great. And now Chris gives dating advice. Yes, my dating advice is this. Get a time machine, travel back 20 years ago, and man, I could give you some advice then. That was a happening time before the era of the smartphone and before the time of social media. We had what was called MySpace. Actually, I think MySpace came out like, what, 2003? I don't know. All right, let's pull up old Windows. Now, for Super Q, I was using... I want to say Drive, and I had like a scripts directory or configs, maybe? No, that wasn't it. Hotkeys. That sounds like me. Edit script. Yes. So, get out. VS Code. Come on. Stop. Okay. Close. So, close that out. So what I like to do, these are the hotkeys I do on my Windows instances. You play Path of Exile? Yeah. So here's what I do for those Windows users out there that kind of want semi-Linux experience. The big thing I wanted was some of my hotkeys. So like Super X would launch Windows Terminal. So that's what I use in my Linux instance. So when I run this here, we'll just run it. Run the script. Should appear down here. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyways. So Super X would launch the terminal. Super B would launch my Brave browser at the time. I haven't updated this in a while. I don't really browse the internet on Windows very much these days. Even on my inside system, what I like to do is probably an Inception kind of effect. Ooh, we should remote into my main system inside so you guys could see that Windows binding. Anyways, but I use this. And then I use close active window right here with super Q. So you get more of a Windows or more of a Linux aesthetic in Windows. For Path of Exile and Diablo 2, you could also do this for Diablo 3 or 4. I like to set it to scroll wheel. So instead of left clicking and getting, like you start to get, this is maybe an old man thing. Maybe you're younger, you don't run into this, but you get a lot of soreness in your wrist area. So you don't want carpal tunnel when playing any ARPG. So I always like to bind wheel up and wheel down to actually, here it's sending a QW backspace, but I like to send left click. Most ARPGs is left click, but you can bind it to whatever. So then instead of clicking, you're just scrolling, and you can alternate between all three of your fingers. So then you kind of give your wrist a break. It's a lot better. So I like that. And I think most of these other ones are just basic quality of life things. But these are the big things I need for hotkeys just to get by in Windows. And usually I just run this auto hotkey script on startup and do that. So I have that. As far as like using like the browser, I think the browser's even broken in this Windows instance. Yeah, this browser's broken. So I don't really use this. So what I like to do is, let me close that out. I know I completely got derailed in this stream, but that's okay. Specs of the other PC is Intel 13th gen with 7800 XT, I think. Let's go Ramina. I think we got Moonlight. That'll give us the best response, I want to say. Let's go desktop. Yeah, here we go. This is a 1440p screen, so it's I actually do, for streaming purposes and those types of things on an inside PC, I'll only game stream in there. And that is all done in 1440p, and I actually broadcast in 1440p instead of doing any scaling. But what I like to do with this is I usually use Hyper-V. Sorry for the flashbang here. So I launch into this. I usually have, like, if I'm doing testing for like the next madness thing that Microsoft does, I'll usually spin up a fresh VM, because I'm not going to do it on this one because I don't want to ruin my Windows. I actually do work on this Windows instance. I don't just live stream on it. So this is obviously 22H2. You can't really read that because of the scaling that's happening right now. But when I actually need to do work, what I end up doing is I connect to this, I hit start, and let's say I need to do Linux work, or actually just work. Let's say I'm doing browsing or programming. Obviously, you don't want to do that in Windows. And using WSL is kind of like awful, like in every single way. So what I end up doing is typing this in. And why I use XRDP with like an X11 instance, I know this sounds terrible to people, but the big thing here is you cannot tell the difference now. We are now moonlighted into my Windows instance. We now launched into a separate enhanced session of Hyper-V using Arch, and this is a virtual machine using Hyper-V with all these exceptions. So it's 1440p. I have all of my settings in here. We're using almost no memory. I mean, geez, what are we rocking right now? For memory, we're not even using a gig. And I'm able to browse the web. I'm able to do any programming. So let's say I'm doing Rust or something like that. I'll do that. And I forget I'm in Windows. Now you might be thinking, Titus, why not just install Linux on this machine if you're using Linux so much for all your actual work? Well, because I don't always work. Sometimes I like my games too. So much like how on this system in here, I host Linux and I have PCI pass-through for Windows for when I'm making videos and those types of things, or when I might need Windows for a little bit. On my inside machine, I mainly game, so I have Windows as my main host. But when I actually need to do work in there, I actually use an enhanced session of Hyper-V using XRDP, so it feels like I'm in a Linux instance and you can't even tell that I'm in Windows. And that's my version of it that works really well, and it feels amazing. I forget I'm in Windows, and I'm able to just kind of churn through all my work. And then when I'm done, I usually just go, okay, cool, that's good. And then I just send my hotkey, shut it down, and let's power off the system. And then it quits. And then it shuts it down. I close it on my Hyper-V. I'm back into my Windows instance. Everything's right with the world. It's cool. And I want to say Control Shift. What is it? Control Shift Q? Okay, yeah. Control Shift Z is one way of doing it. And, or actually, no, I think it's, here, let's click back in. Control Shift Q is what I want. And we'll just stop that. And now we're back in this instance. But that's my idea of a good environment. So I liked Windows and I like Linux, but there's times where one might suit my needs better. So on my inside machine where I'm gaming mostly, Windows. With Linux on the side, or actually have a version of Linux to where I forget I'm in Windows. That's the best. And it's kind of sandboxed, and Windows isn't going to be able to like look inside my Linux instance too. So, or at least it shouldn't. Maybe with maybe with recall, it'll take screenshots of it. Maybe that's their plan with the recall. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. So that's my thought. So yes, I just install it everywhere. That's just my way of going. 22H2 lost support according to its life cycle. Yeah. I don't recommend people install 22H2. I just don't feel like upgrading right now. And I'm gaming on that system, so I really don't care. And I'm not browsing the web. I'm not downloading extra programs for that Windows instance. It's just there to game. And it's really just there to have fun. And then if I do want to do work, I launch Hyper-V with everything as you see, like you see here. Why not use Moonlight and Sunshine the other way too? I think for latency, really. Is Linux got good proper anti-cheat support? Yeah, so the main problem with Linux is not necessarily Linux's fault. It's all the publisher's fault. A lot of publishers do not want to support their anti-cheat on Linux, even though many instances of it is mainly just them. It's just them not wanting to tick the box to say, yes, enable Linux support. That's just the world we live in right now. There are plenty of publishers out there still today. The anti-cheat works in Linux, and it's as easy as them checking a box to enable Linux support, and yet they don't check that box. It would take an intern less than an hour to probably publish that Linux anti-cheat support with Proton enabled and all that, and yet a lot of people still don't do it. What happened to the 5600X PC? That's actually what I use to do all my production on. So the 5600X is right here for my production. I also had another 5600X because I got them on sale for $120 at like Micro Center. And that one I gave to my son. We built a gaming PC for him. Yeah. EA and BattleEye, I think that's just, they just don't want to have Linux support, I want to say. Which is weird, you know? Everyone cheats in those games anyways. That's the funny part. Like, it's not like these anti-cheats actually work. If we're just straight up, I mean, there's plenty of cheaters in Call of Duty. Like, holy crap. There's plenty of aim bots and other stuff that get around all these anti-cheat services. And we haven't even talked about the most egregious of them all, which is Valorant and what is the rootkit that they install? League of Legends also has that too now. That's pretty bad. That's a pretty awful anti-cheat. Why game on Moonlight if you have Looking Glass? Yeah, and I like the PCI pass-through. I like to run it on the local media instead of having to go through the network. Even going through the network, you're going to add some latency, probably 50 milliseconds, probably something like that, 50 to 100. It's very, very little. In an FPS or highly competitive game, you will probably notice it, and that's the problem. Even local. They literally say they don't want to support Linux because of cheating, but those anti-cheats literally don't even work on Windows. Exactly. And they're the most egregious, and it's just awful. Yeah, I don't think you could find a more toxic community than League of Legends. League of Legends cheat. I think there's like League of Bots and other stuff that you can do to cheat in League of Legends. Is that still a thing? League of Bots, I think it was. League of Bots. I remember there was an anti-cheating bot that would do... There's an auto-level bot. I remember there was one bot that would show people supers and do an outline of it, so you could see that. If you're playing League and you want to see people cheat, probably the most powerful cheat in League of Legends, if, let's say I wanted to get like Platinum 1 and troll people on a cheat, I'd probably pick Xerath. And then it has an ult that can go all across the entire map. And you could easily bot that to hit and expose, like through the fog of war, a person and just throw an ult and hit that person every single time. So Xerath, as soon as the ult would come up, it's an instant win, instant death for whoever it is you pick. And if you ever get like run into a Xerath and all of a sudden like you're not even seeing him on the screen, he's hitting you with his ult, that person's cheating, they're botting, and you probably should report him. Whether or not he gets taken care of, I don't know. But yeah, interesting facts about cheating in League of Legends. It's not only toxic, but people still cheat even with the terrible anti-cheat they put in place. Did you know GTA 5 now uses BattleEye? What? GTA 5's like 12 years old or something silly at this point, and they put BattleEye on it? I feel like these anti-cheats are doing something other than stopping you from cheating. I almost want to say that the anti-cheats are, I don't know. I'm speculating here, but it feels like it's essentially a rootkit that's sitting at almost the kernel level, from my understanding, especially in Riot's case. I mean, it's able to snoop on so many things on your system. It'd be so tempting for those free games to farm your data and sell it to people. And especially League of Legends. I just, anytime I see a rootkit type anti-cheat in a game, I think to myself, what else is it doing? Because honestly, it's not stopping cheaters. So, food for thought. There are allegations of Valorant periodically taking screenshots. Keep in mind, it runs all the time. Well, maybe I'll get another email from Bob over in Africa saying he took pictures of my browsing habits and now I must send him 1.5 Bitcoin. Otherwise, he's going to send the webcam pictures to my loved ones. I think, what was it? Mudahar, Ordinary Gamers, made a video about that. I was cracking up. I thought that was pretty hilarious. You'd freak out on some of the invasive stuff from anti-cheating programs or tests that schools use now. Yeah, I could see that. I've taken some certification tests, and when I open up that system, I'm like, ooh, man. I would hate to install this on my personal system for sure. Scammed by Bob the Builder. We all knew he was shady. GTA Online had a massive cheating problem, but guess what? It didn't stop with BattleEye. I'm shocked. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, and Linux support's cool. I mean, honestly, when Linux gets big enough that gaming companies will lose millions of dollars, that's when we win. That's when this anti-cheat at a kernel level and all this other nonsense that you're dealing with on Windows goes away. So just buy the new Steam Deck when it comes out, basically. As much as I am scared of Steam's future or Valve's future for today, I definitely support them because they are advancing the Linux market share just by the use of Steam Deck. So any Steam Deck that comes out, I just immediately buy it. Whether or not I'm going to use it, I probably will use it. I like to buy them just to support that because it does really affect Linux market share, and it's a good device. Do you think Windows 10 going unsupported will bring more people to Linux, or do you think most of the people just hop to Windows 11? Most people will hop to Windows 11. As much as we make a big deal out of recall or whatever thing that Microsoft does to us next, you know, it's very much a boil the frog situation where the water just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter until, you know, the frog boils in the pot, so to speak. And Windows users won't switch to Linux. Most of them are just a lost cause, and they're just going to get farmed, and they'll just accept the fact that they're getting spied on, everything's getting screenshotted, or their data is just getting harvested and sold. If they haven't already accepted it, they will, because that's just the nature of the game. I think there's probably a few like diehards in Windows that still think, oh, it's a secure environment, or, you know, that they still like, there's probably a couple fanboys of Microsoft, but most of that has been extinguished. Most people have just either accepted their fate or started to move on, whether that be Mac, whether it be Linux. You know, CoffeeZilla tea. Yeah, man. Whenever Logan Paul sued CoffeeZilla, I bought his t-shirt. I think it helps him with his legal fees or something is what he said. And I was like, yeah, give me two. I like to support a lot of other creators I really like on YouTube. So I do buy other YouTubers merch. He seems to be doing good, man. And CopyZilla's had plenty of times to sell out, and he hasn't taken it. So that's one thing I tip my hat to. When someone hits millions of followers, and they're still doing a good job and working, and still hadn't changed their content or gone like crazy sponsorships or anything nuts like that, I like that. You know, that takes a very special kind of person, because most people say I would never do that, but you really don't know until you get to that kind of critical mass of followers. And it does change people in a lot of ways. A lot of creators do change as time goes on, and most times not for the better. But some people stay pretty rooted down in the roots, and I think CoffeeZilla is one of the good ones, man. Plot twist, CoffeeZilla doesn't like coffee. I refuse to believe that. I absolutely refuse to believe that. But yeah, I love it all. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to shut her down for today. I know I should have taken more time on HUGO and stuff. I did want to like do more Python scripting stuff, but I was just like, I didn't get to it. I will though. I had a good time. It's such a good time doing this stuff and kind of exploring and just chatting too. Some days I know some of these streams don't make much sense, and some days they do. Hopefully the idea of the stream is it just kind of opens your eyes to a new way or a new tech or a new thing to look at in a different light, and then have you explore it. And that's really my main purpose of doing a lot of these streams, is just to show new things and go, oh, here's what I'm trying on. And I do need to get back to programming more and doing some more of my pull requests. I just been lazy, just a lazy man. Your streams are getting shorter, from 3 hours to 2, twice in a row. I know. We all need a break though. Every once in a while, I just go until I find that good little lull. I'm like, I think we're gonna call it for today. Don't worry though. Next week, we have to tackle Windows utility and Linux utility. I'll probably work on that a little bit over the weekend as well. Start prepping that, because looking at both of those, when we got WinUtil, we have 15 pull requests and 135 issues. And then on LinUtil, we have 73 pull requests and 27 issues. 73 pull requests. 73 pull requests. That is a lot of pull requests. Like 73. Maybe next week. All right, next week. We'll do that next week. Next week. 70. 73 poll requests. Deuces.